Let's talk about a team that plays Texas in week 2 at home. That is the Alabama Crimson Tide. Nick Saban has tipped his hand just a little bit at the direction of that quarterback battle. He's not saying it's going to be a certain guy just yet, but he said it's sort of taking shape. But he also indicated that whoever starts game 1, that's not just going to be the end of the quarterback battle. So reading through what is being said here, quarterback battle will go through that first game against Middle Tennessee. And by week 2, you would hope you have it figured out. I think week 2 is when you probably want to name a starter if you're Alabama. To be real, though, I love this. I absolutely love this if I'm an Alabama fan for a couple of reasons. And the first part of this is when you play Middle Tennessee, the competition is not going to lie to you. Like, you get real live bullets. I said it before on my Twitter page. Men lie, women lie. Fall Saturdays don't lie to you. And to be able to see all of these individuals, Ty Simpson, Jalen Milroe, Tyler Buckner, all playing live football, that's going to give you, I think, a better picture as to who's kind of got that juice. We'll talk about the juice a little bit later. But the data, I think, is important. You always take more information where you can get it. And the luxury of Alabama's schedule is you play Middle Tennessee State the first game of the season. Like, all right, great. We're probably not too worried about losing that game. Let's figure out more and keep evaluating what we have in this quarterback room. Because it's one thing to trot out there during fall camp. I'm sure it's still intense. You got Nick Saban watching you. I'm sure it's not a low-key environment in Tuscaloosa. But it's one thing to trot out there and play quarterback with a non-contact jersey. It is a whole nother thing to have 11 grown men wanting to just absolutely demolish you and put your face in the dirt. It's another thing to be on national television, having 80 to 100,000 fans screaming at you. That takes a little bit of a different kind of it factor to get that done. You find out exactly who has it real quick in those kind of situations. When the external circumstances get turned up a little bit, when you're not just out at practice, then you kind of find out, okay, who's really got it under the hood? The other part of this, too, for Texas, I mean, this is an advantage for Alabama in that game. Because this game against Texas, make no mistake about it, week 2, playoff implications. Texas, they want to go to the playoff. Alabama, they want to get back to the playoff. If you drop this game, you lose your mulligan. And both these teams have other games ahead of them that will test them and that will potentially give them issues. I mean, Texas, if they want to get to the college football playoff, they'll have to win the Big 12, more than likely. Have to go through Oklahoma. The Big 12 is just demolition derby. It feels like every single year, like for Alabama, you got to play the rest of your SEC schedule. So this game will have a massive impact on what they do in the postseason. That's why we love college football. When it comes to this game, being able to force Texas in the week leading up to it is going to be a tremendous advantage. Especially, think about it this way. If Jalen Milroe is going to be your guy, I'm not making a prediction. I'm just saying, if it is Jalen Milroe, Alabama will probably have some quarterback runs baked in there, right? I mean, it feels like you might be a little bit silly to not do that with Jalen Milroe as your quarterback. But if you don't know who the starter is going to be, and you're Texas during the week, you got to prep for Ty Simpson, got to prep for Jalen Milroe, got to prep for Tyler Buckner. Like, you don't know what you're going to see in that game. And so for Texas, let's say it's going to be Jalen Milroe maybe that week, maybe Ty Simpson like I was just saying, but even the possibility of it being Jalen Milroe means you have to, during the week, commit some practice time to stopping the quarterback run game, right? I mean, if you're running quarterback power, you got to be able to fit that effectively when it comes time for Saturday. So guess what? We may have a whole period of practice, whole 5, 10, 15 minutes, however they do it in Austin, dedicated to just those kind of packages. And so if Alabama trots out there on Saturday and says, you know what, actually it's not going to be Jalen Milroe. Actually, it's going to be Ty Simpson. Well, that is time that Texas spent prepping for Jalen Milroe that they didn't use prepping for Ty Simpson. And so now they're, in theory, a step behind. You love that if you're Nick Saban. You take every single competitive advantage you can get. Now, from a leadership standpoint, I think this could maybe be the most important thing when it comes to what Alabama is going to be going forward. For Alabama to be the quarterback there's a couple of places across the country where it takes a little bit more than just being the quarterback. You got to be the guy. You got to have that juice like we were talking about earlier in this segment. You got to have the it factor. And with all those circumstances being turned up around you in a situation on a fall Saturday, you get to see who follows who. Hey, who can command the huddle in practice? That's one question. But when you get to a game, when you're in the foxhole with your boys, when it's a 2-minute drill to end the first half and we got to get points, who has the steady hand and who do these guys follow? Because you can't fake leadership. You can throw a nice ball. You can know the playbook. You can know all the checks. But you cannot fake in any way, shape, form, or fashion having guys follow you and having guys respond to you a certain way in the huddle and at the line of scrimmage. So that's the thing I'm watching for Alabama as this quarterback battle wages on into week 1. Because when it comes time for Texas, got to have it sorted out. When it comes time for Texas, it is go time. It is playoff time, week 2. The beautiful thing about college football right now, man, every single week means everything. And the quarterback battle will have a tremendous impact on that for Alabama as they try and climb that mountain once again to get back to the college football playoff. Cannot wait for week 2 against Texas in Tuscaloosa. Night game. Going to be a thing of beauty. College football poetry, if you will. Hey, y'all. Thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also, be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.